One of my favorite things in the world to do is watch Friends. I know it's been off for years and years. It's not even around, but I still find myself binge watching old episodes. And I was thinking about this today and thinking, it's the predictability of the friends in the circle, right? You have Chandler with his quirkiness, Monica with her type A of just everything has to be so neat and tidy and organized. It's Phoebe's ability to make you laugh at her silly songs. Ross always comes in with those smart comments, and Joey and him and his food, like it is just so hilarious. And of course, Rachel, she just brings everybody together, and it's just such this beautiful, cohesive team of people. And it's why I wanted to come on and share with you today that I have an opportunity for you to find your friends in the content creation space. So if you are thinking about creating your first or your next digital course, I don't want you to miss this opportunity because Amy Porterfield just opened the doors for registration for her Course Confident Bootcamp. And I'm actually offering a special bonus for anyone that registers for the Course Confident Bootcamp through my special link. So I want you to go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp to register. That's crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp. And what you're going to find when you get there is I have this special bonus private podcast series. It's called Money Mindset for Creators. So I want you to go register for Amy's bootcamp, download the podcast, and immediately start listening to it, because what this training is set up to do is to help you get your mind right about monetizing your content, making money so that you can fuel your content creation dreams. So go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp to register for Course Confident. And I cannot wait for you to find your friends and find the people that will be there for you. Do you see what I did there? Yeah, nice little friends segue connection. Go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp. And I cannot wait to see you inside. Okay, let's get into today's episode. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Rookie Life Podcast. I'm your host, Crystal Profit, and I want to say thank you so much for joining us today for episode number 29. So what are we talking about today? Well, we're going to discuss why podcasting was the next move for me and why you should consider it too. So there's a lot of things that I've learned recently that I would love to share with you, but we just don't have all the time in the world because I could literally talk about podcasting all the time. I love this platform. It's been so much fun for me, but the number one thing is it has helped me exponentially grow my influence and my impact in my community. But if this is the first time you're tuning into the Rookie Life, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. Let me tell you about the other fun things that we talk about here on the podcast. We focus on what it means to start something new, even when you have no idea where to begin, how to develop new skills in all areas of your life, and how to find that it factor that'll keep you motivated every single day. So join us as we dive headfirst into what it means to be a rookie. Come on, rookies. We all have to start somewhere. This episode is sponsored by Rookie Podcasting, the perfect course for a beginner podcaster. Whether you're starting from ground zero or you already have a live show, the information in this course is designed to help you in the first 5 months of your podcast. In this course, you'll learn the strategies I use to start my podcast, capture an audience of raving fans, and reach 1,000 downloads in under 5 months. But unfortunately, the doors aren't open anymore for 2018. What I've done is created a wait list. So if you're interested in podcasting or learning what it takes to start a podcast, Go to crystalprofit.com/rookiePodcasting where you can join the waitlist for 2019. I'm so excited for the course to open up again, but for now, I'm serving the customers that are already in there. But I don't want any of you that are interested in podcasting to miss out on the opportunity to know when the doors open again. So that's crystalprofit.com/rookiePodcasting. Hey rookies, and welcome back to episode number 29. Before we get right into today's episode, I wanted to remind you of a couple of things. The first thing is that I wanted to tell you that we always provide the show notes for each episode. So if you're interested in learning more about any of our guests or the things that we talk about today, go to crystalprofit.com/podcast. That's Crystal with a K, Profit with 2 F's and 2 T's to see the show notes for this week's episode. You'll also find social media links for our guests so you can continue to follow their journeys. The next thing I wanted to remind you is to be sure and subscribe to the show so you don't miss any future episodes. There are some really exciting things coming up around the corner, and I can't wait to share them with you. And while you're at it, please rate and review the show on iTunes. We just did another giveaway, and I have a feeling there's another one coming up around the corner. But what you have to do to be considered is you have to leave a comment on what you think of the show. Here are some ideas of what you can say. You can tell other people what you think of the show. You can tell me topics that you want us to talk about. Or you can just comment with which episode is your favorite. Yes, you can always leave us a star rating between 1 and 5 stars, but you have to leave a comment to be considered for one of our drawings. I don't want you to miss out on the opportunity to get some really cool stuff. Besides, who knows what the prize is going to be next time. Okay, we got all the business stuff out of the way. Now, let's talk about one of my favorite things in the world, podcasting. Okay, so recently I was interviewed by Travis at Buzzsprout. And if you don't know what Buzzsprout is, that is the hosting site that my podcast lives on. And I think I've talked about this before on here, but basically your hosting site is where your podcast lives on the internet. And they announced that they were going to have like an open call for podcasters. Like you've had to have been had your show for at least 6 months, and they wanted to talk to, newbies that are just getting their feet wet, or, even if you've been in it for a long time, like what are some lessons learned, or, like how can you add value to other people that are starting? And of course, y'all know me, like I jumped at the chance to try something new, try something a little like nerve-wracking and scary because like guys, I've been podcasting for a while now, but this was the first time I was interviewed for someone else's podcast. So I was excited. I was nervous. I was a little scared, like, oh my God, I'm going to sound so stupid. Like, it's different when I'm interviewing someone that I've met because I'm not nervous. I know the questions that are going to be asked. But being kind of in the hot seat, like now I feel like I know what my guests have to go through. So it helps me, I get a better perspective on, everything that they do. But I was nervous for this interview and I was trying to prepare as much as possible. But, if you don't know what someone's going to ask you, then it's kind of hard to prepare. So that's like a little side note for myself when I'm thinking about inviting people onto my podcast. But anyway, so they started this new podcast for them, and it's called Buzzcast, and they interview all these brand new people that are, just from different backgrounds, different shows. I think there was a wrestling one. There was a few other people. They just started this in December. So it's kind of really cool to be one of the very first ones that they have on there. But during our interview, and I'm going to try my best, I listened to it yesterday. It came out, I'm recording this on January 10th, and it came out on January 9th. And I listened to it yesterday right after it came out, and I'm trying to not regurgitate everything that I said in there, but I realized a lot of the things I said in that interview I haven't shared with my own listeners. So it kind of just opened my eyes to have I told y'all all the things like why I got into podcasting? Yeah, I know at the very beginning I shared about why I think people should do things, to be exactly who God created them to be. But at the same time, I don't think I've shared with you really why I got into podcasting. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and why I think you should get into podcasting, because it's so amazing. Like, I'm just going to be that annoying person. I love podcasting. It's so much fun, and it's given me way better traction on my business than blogging or doing video has. So I'll share about that too. But so let's go back to, how did you get into podcasting? So I have been a fan of podcasts for a long time. I would say within the last 4 or 5 years, I really, I would go out for a run or I'd go to the gym, and that's what I listen to. I listen to podcasts or audiobooks, and I just kind of cut back on the amount of music I was listening to. I think I just really needed it. There was like a season of my life where I was just so hungry for someone to pour in me motivation and encouragement, because I was all of a sudden staying at home and I had no idea what I was doing. So I was listening to Dave Ramsey and Christy Wright and Brian Buffini and a lot of other motivational things that I kind of stumbled upon. Some of them I liked, some of them I didn't. After a while, I only tried them out for a few weeks, and I was like, there's a new episode. Okay, I'm not going to listen to that one anymore. It just wasn't for me. But I always thought that podcasting was reserved for people that have a really big business, and they're, here these people are, they have $1 million companies. They're very elite. I mean, we're talking about men and women that own some of the biggest businesses in the country. And it just kind of, I'm like, well, that's not for little old me. That's just for them to do. And I just kind of went on about my business. I didn't even think about it being something that I wanted to try one day. But then last year, a blogger that I've followed for a really long time, I think I've been following her just as long as I've been, listening to podcasts. She started a podcast, and I thought, like, she's not too far away from me. Like, yeah, she still has a very successful company. Like, she, I'm sure she generates a few $1 million a year. Like, she's definitely way above my pay grade. But she did it, and I thought,
being a woman in business comes with its own unique set of challenges, but also so many opportunities. We get ahead by leaning in to what makes us different from business as usual. I'm Samantha Hartley, host of Profitable Joyful Consulting, inviting you to a special 6-episode series exploring the experience of being a woman in business. You want to hear from women consultants who've hit $1 million, who sell 6-figure engagements, or who've broken their own revenue ceilings? Yeah, those are my clients, and they'll be sharing too. Join me for 6 must-listen episodes that tackle key challenges for women consultants.
Follow Profitable Joyful Consulting on your favorite podcast app.
well, why can't I do that? Like, maybe it's not just reserved for people that, have an entire production studio, because like Dave Ramsey, if you know who he is. If you don't, then please Google him. He can change your life. But he has, because you can actually watch him producing his show. Like, it's not just a podcast. It's a radio show. It's a video channel. Like, he's got the works. And to see him producing this at a very, very high level, like I'm sure their studio, the equipment that they have in there is a few $100,000. Easily, because it's so well done. And to see that someone who probably doesn't have all that equipment, but just a microphone and, really good software, that she could do that, I thought, okay, well, why not me? So I started digging into it, and it was crazy. And I've shared, on here before that I have like the genesis moment of when I wrote down, hey, I think I want to start a podcast, and then the date that I actually launched. And in between those two dates, it was 59 days. And that's so awesome to have that in print, in my handwriting, like right there. I can go back and look I could see my journey because I documented it. I didn't intentionally document it. I didn't know what was going on, but I journal every single day. So that was really cool. It's such a really cool thing to have. But it did. It took me 2 months. And guys, I'm not just talking about like, oh, I'm playing with the idea. I'm kind of brainstorming. Like, no, like every free moment I had for 2 months, I spent Googling and YouTubing and searching blogs and watching videos and taking webinars and doing all these things for 2 months straight, trying to figure out how can I do this as cheap as possible, but produce something that people actually want to hear. I don't want it to be something that's like, okay, I do it once or twice and then I, never do it again, which happened to a blog that I had way back in the day. I did it for a few weeks and then I didn't get any traction. So basically I gave up on it and walked away. And so I just didn't want that to happen with podcasting. Like I wanted to really go all in. I thought that this was something that I would really enjoy because I love to talk. Big surprise, I love to talk. And the idea of blogging really was just wearing me down. It really was. It just felt like something like more of a chore than anything else. It didn't feel like something I was really enjoying. Like I wasn't sitting down at my computer or getting out my pen and paper and thinking, oh, I can't wait to write today. Like it was literally like pulling teeth trying to get the words out of my head. But now, like even as I'm standing here right now in front of this microphone, like it pours out of me. All I have, so there's like behind the scenes tip. I have a Google Doc opened right now in front of my face, and there is an outline, and it's exactly what I want to say, and I just have it on there, and this is how I handle the flow of my show. But I mean, you could take this away and I could still just talk about all this stuff because I love it so much, because I feel like I can connect with you on a more real level whenever it's my voice. It's not my words, like let me do like a side note real fast. Like I'm sure you have experienced someone reading a text message or an email or a fax or whatever. Oh my God, that just dated me. Like a fax. Hello. Who gets faxes? First of all, that's another side note. Like faxes, no, that's a thing of the past. But you could you could misinterpret something that someone says through the written word easily. Like if you don't put an apostrophe here, or you forget to put a comma here, or you put it in all caps, God forbid, you're yelling at someone. So with podcasting, what I'm trying to say. When I'm being sarcastic and I'm being crazy, when I'm laughing because I cannot control it. It's like, oh my gosh, if you don't know what that's like, go listen to the podcast about my poetry. Oh my God, like I just cracked up through that entire thing. But I feel like we have a better connection. You get to know me better through a podcast. And that's what I love about this. And I wanted to have a platform that would grow a lot faster than my blog because I just wasn't getting a lot of traction. I really wasn't. And, I was getting a few hundred views a month, maybe, I got a few thousand there for a while, but it just wasn't anything that was something that I could really talk about. Like it felt almost really selfish too. Like I felt like I could only write about stuff about myself. I didn't feel like I was delivering content that really helped someone else. So at podcasting, I feel like this is an extension of who I am. Like it's an extension of me. Like the podcast isn't the end all be all for Crystal Profit. It's not. I love it. And I absolutely love this platform. I will talk about it all day, every day. But it's not my end game. It's just a way for me to connect with you and to have people on the show that you want to hear. Like connect you with people that can help you do awesome things in your life, whether it's get your health together or get your house together, get your business organized. Like that's what I'm here to do, here to deliver stuff that can help you in your life. And so that brings me to my next point. Here's why I think you should consider starting a podcast. And maybe you're saying, Crystal, I'm just a stay-at-home mom, or, I have a full-time job. I just listen to you when I'm driving in the car, or I'm running on the treadmill. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're telling me I need to hop off this treadmill and go look up how to start a podcast? No. But I am saying that if you start one today, it's going to be like how blogging was 10 years ago, when you see people that started then having massive success now because they figured it out whenever it was in its infancy, when people were just like scrambling, like, okay, well, what is this? How do I do this WordPress thing? How do I figure out these blogs? That's how I feel podcasting is today. It's still very new. And when I say new, yeah, it's been around for a while, but people are just now starting to, get into the game, like put some skin in the game. Everyday people are podcasting a lot more. And that's what's really awesome about it. You don't have to invest hundreds or thousands of dollars into podcasting. Like, I've been doing this since, let's just call it May of 2018, because that's when I started doing the research. I bought my microphone, I bought my pop filter, and I signed up for my hosting site. Guys, that cost me $30. $30 to do all that. And then, as we've gone along this journey, I bet I still haven't spent more than like $100, $150. Like, really, like, I'm just going to be really real with you. This is not an expensive platform. Yeah, sure. If you want to go buy a microphone that costs hundreds of dollars, then, more power to you, but you don't have to have that. That's definitely not a requirement to start a podcast. And yes, there is a lot of competition, but there's always some space to get really creative with the content that you produce. Because I've had people say, oh, well, there's already someone doing online marketing. There's someone that does Pinterest. There's someone that talks about blogging. There's someone that does this. There's someone that starts that. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I bet there's someone out there that talks about starting new things and, to keep it up. I bet you they don't say rookies, but, it's like, there's always competition, but it's funny. And I don't know why I pick on real estate agents, but it's so true. Like, I think about, well, what about if you were a real estate agent? Like, how many do you know? Like, if you live in a neighborhood, how many real estate agents do you think live in that neighborhood? Like, I'm not talking about people that work that neighborhood. I'm talking about agents that live in your neighborhood, that they sell homes. Like, that is their source of income, right? There's a ton of real estate agents everywhere, and you can't tell me that they're all not successful. There's probably going to be some that are more successful than others, but I don't want you to use that as an excuse as to why you shouldn't consider having a podcast. So let me give you some ideas of what you could talk about on a podcast if this is something that you are interested in. Do you like to cook at home? You can share recipes of your favorite dishes, or you can talk about things that you've learned from your grandmother growing up in the kitchen with her. And, what is it called? Like when you snap in peas and, not peas, you know what I'm talking about. Green beans, shelling peas. That's what I was thinking of. You're shelling peas, you're snapping green beans, you're picking up pecans out in, by the pecan trees, like you're doing all these things. Like, that is interesting to some people. Like, I know people, I would probably listen to that because I love food. I love talking about food. I mean, like, I don't know if I would listen to that while I'm running on the treadmill because I'd like be slobbering everywhere thinking about food. That's why I can't watch The Pioneer Woman while I'm at the, like, working out at the YMCA. You have the TVs and stuff, and they always have the Food Network up. Like, what is that about? And they're always making like donuts or something that's fried and delicious looking. And you're like, really? Like, we're trying to run. Anyway, so another idea I have is, again, go back to the real estate agents. So if you are a real estate agent, or let's say you're a broker, or you flip houses, or whatever it is within that industry, even if you're in finance within, you're a lender, anything like that within like the mortgage process, we could sit down and have a 30-minute conversation about 50 podcast ideas that I have for real estate. You can talk about staging a home. You can talk about the inspection processes. You can talk about listing your home. You can talk about all the paperwork and the contracts and, why is this such a long process? You can talk about taxes. Oh my gosh, like just taxes alone. And I know this because we've moved so many times, and I'll say it again, we've moved 3 times in 4 years. Hopefully we're going to be here for a while. But you can talk about all those things that they may seem, it's like, oh, well, that's not a big deal because you deal with them all the time. But people don't know. If you have a first-time home buyer, you have kids, out of college, they just recently got married, they've been living in an apartment, for the last 2 or 3 years, and they're like, you know what, I think we want to settle down. I bet you they don't know anything about taxes and how it all works and how you should consider your school districts. Like, guys, we could go on and on about this forever, but I want to get to some other industries. So that's for real estate. If you are in the fashion industry, hello. First of all, you need to come give me some free services because I struggle in this so bad. And I mean, even right now, I guess I look okay today. It's, at least I got jeans on. I got some boots on. It's kind of cold outside. So, I'm not completely struggling in some pajamas or anything today. But if you're in the fashion industry, you can talk about, it changes so much. So you want to talk about having new content all the time. I know it's not as visually appealing as a blog or Instagram feed where you're looking at everything. But when it comes to podcasts, the sky is the limit on when people will listen to the show. I've seen people walking their dog and, they told me, oh yeah, I like to listen to this podcast when I'm walking, or they're on the treadmill, or they're folding their laundry, or they're driving in the car. The sky is the limit on when people are going to listen to your content. So for the fashion industry, you could talk about shoes, you could talk about accessories, you could talk about hats, you could talk about seasons, you could talk about designers. You can talk about fashion schools. Like if someone really wanted to learn how to style someone. I've talked to a personal stylist, and I have another one coming on the show again soon. So, I could probably ask them hey, what are some of the things that you think people need to know that don't know, your clients? What are your frequently asked questions? There's just so many possibilities when it comes to podcasting for content. I just love doing these kind of exercises where you walk through the possibilities of all the things that can happen. And it's really not that hard, guys, because if you think about it in terms of a year, so I know we're already a little bit into the year now, but if you look at it, there's 52 weeks in a year. Every single year, there's 52 weeks. That's 52 podcasts if you just want to produce one every single week. And yeah, probably at first glance, you're like, oh my God, that's very overwhelming. I don't even want to think about podcasting. I don't even know. I don't have a microphone. I don't even know what a hosting site is. I don't even know what I would say. Do you have to do it a certain way or certain volume? That just makes my mind want to explode when you say that. But if you can sit down and write down 50 ideas about something that you love to talk about. I'm not talking about you feel forced to talk about it. I'm saying you love to talk about it. It lights your heart on fire. You could go to a coffee shop and talk to your best friend about this one thing for hours, then that's what you should talk about. And you can come up with 50 ideas probably really fast. I don't even think I'd have to give you half an hour. Guys, that's an entire year of content, an entire year to be able to podcast. And that, I don't know about you, maybe that still overwhelms you because I know I'm very highly energetic, highly motivated. It excites me because it's really not that complicated. It's not that hard. First of all, you don't have to have a website. You don't. I know a lot of people do. That's not a requirement with podcasting. You don't have to have all the SEO and the analytics and all the stuff that can be really overwhelming when it comes to the online space. You can, and I think it's cool if you do, more power to you, the more techie you want to get, but you don't have to have all that stuff. You don't. But another really cool thing about it is there are some amazing podcasts already out in the world for you to listen to. go listen to the shows that are out there. Like, I'm so happy. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm absolutely grateful that you listen to The Rookie Life because I love connecting with you. I love to know the things that really resonate with you and the things that you want to hear. Like, I can see that in all the statistics, and I've gotten feedback from people saying, oh, this was so great. But go listen to other shows. Go listen to other people. Like, literally take out your phone, Google Play, iTunes, wherever you're listening, Spotify, and look at all the categories of stuff. There's literally a podcast for everything. I want you to go listen to them. Listen to what other people are saying. Listen to how they format their shows. Listen to what they have to say. Because that's what I love so much about this platform, is if you have a voice, if you have a message, then you can use this platform to get it out to other people, right? It's no longer you and your friend sitting in the coffee shop talking about these ideas, these things that you love. It's other people. You're inviting them into the conversation. You're inviting them to join you to talk about these things that you're passionate about. You're inviting them to be part of your community. And that's what I love about podcasting. It has been the one thing that has helped me exponentially grow my reach, my message, and help me know exactly what I want to do. And it's just such an awesome feeling. And I know I totally geeked out on you there for a second, but I love it. And I'm so happy I got to share this episode with you because it just really lights my heart on fire to podcast and to do all the cool things I've gotten to do. I actually have so much more in store for 2019, and I cannot wait to share them with you. There's some really cool stuff coming up around the corner, guys. So just buckle up. And if you're interested in podcasting, there's actually a link. You can go and sign up for my podcasting course. It's crystalprofit.com/rookiepodcasting. And you can go check out what's going over there. If it's not open right now, you can join our wait list and you'll be notified whenever it opens again. But I encourage you just to go and check it out. I have a resource library that has all kinds of stuff. It's all free. Free. It's all free. And you can go see the different things that go into podcasting. That way you can see, is it even worth my time? Do I have the time to do this? Let me tell you, I really didn't have the time to start a podcast. I've got 3 kids. I've got a dog that is the most needy animal on the world. I have a husband. We have a family. We like to do stuff together as a family. But I wake up early in the morning because I love to do this. I love to share these messages with you. I love to bring you awesome people, awesome interviews that bring you tons of value. So that's it for episode 29. Remember to go check out the show notes and see what we have going on at crystalprofit.com. Subscribe to the show, and please, please, please leave a review. Stay tuned for next week's show, and remember, keep it up, rookies. We all have to start somewhere. Hey, Profit Podcast listeners. Thanks for sticking around to a little bit after the episode to hear this special message because I want to hear from you. We are starting a new segment called Fan Mail Shoutouts, and I want to hear from you, and I want to hear your questions. What do you want to know? What questions have you been dying to ask me? So here's how to make this happen. Go to the app where you're listening to this podcast right now. Go there. I'll wait a second. Okay. Now, once you're there, you're going to see a hyperlink at the top of the episode description that says, send Crystal a text message. And that's all I want you to do. Send me a text. It could be casual, informal. It could be totally anonymous. Or if you want, you can include your name and the name of your podcast or content wherever you are creating, and I will give you a special shout out in an upcoming episode. So again, go to the show notes for where you're listening to this episode right now, and it will say, send Crystal a text message. And I cannot wait to hear from you and give you a shout out in an upcoming segment of Fan Mail Shoutouts.